Hi and welcome. My name is Polly. Today's class is called Foundations Flow 2, and it's a continuation of Foundations Flow 1. So this class is particularly designed for beginners or for those of you who want a return to the basics. We'll be going through a series of foundational poses with special attention to both foundation, where we're placing our hands and feet, as well as some key alignment principles. So please have two blocks and a blanket handy, and we'll get started right off in Tadasana. So come on right into mountain pose, or Tadasana in Sanskrit. Soles of the feet, hip width distance, so slightly separated, and second toes are more or less parallel. Bring arms by your sides, relaxed, palms face forward. Settle into your feet. Fill up the body with breath, open to the possibilities of the practice. Start here with a couple shoulder rolls up and back, just warming the body. And then reverse the direction and bring them forward. Nice. From here, reach the hands overhead, look up to the thumbs, and then exhale, release arms by your sides. Let's add in the breath. Full breath in through the nose, look up, and exhale, release. Ujjayi breath style, inhale and look up, and exhale, arms by your sides. Nicely done. Inhale now, reach hands to the sky. And on your exhale, bend the knees to fold forward to Uttanasana, or forward bend, standing forward bend. Now, if your fingertips don't reach the mat here, grab your blocks. Place fingertips to the blocks or the mat, and on an inhale, halfway lift. Look forward and lengthen through the crown of the head, so spine is long. And then exhale and refold. Let's do that once again. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale, set the blocks to the side, place the hands, step one foot back, lower to the knee, step the other, lower to the knee. And here we are in all fours, our tabletop pose. Hands are shoulder width distance and directly below the shoulders. So shoulders, wrists, shoulders, elbows, and wrists are stacked, and fingers are spread wide and even. Cow, cat. Inhale, arch the back and look up. And exhale to round in, cat. Inhale, look up. Lower the belly, lift the gaze. And then draw the belly in. Tuck the tailbone, press down through the hands for cat. Let's go 2 or 3 more, matching your breath to movement. Inhale, cow. Exhale to cat. Keep it going. Come back to a neutral spine and separate the knees almost as wide as the mat. Big toes touch and hips sink down for child's pose. Now the hips don't make it all the way to the heels, no problem. Just bring forearms to the mat, or you could even use your block here. For those of you who have a little bit more mobility in the hips can release down all the way to the heels, and arms come outstretched in front of you. Forehead to the mat, chin releases, neck is long. Now, child's pose is one that you can return to throughout this practice or any practice that you do, just to take a break and come back to the breath. So the difference between practicing yoga and doing any other kind of exercise is that one of the differences is that we're always coordinating our breath, our inhales and exhales with each movement. So if you feel like the breath is becoming short or you're losing track of it, child's pose is a good option to return to. And return to the Ujjayi breath. Attend to the inhales and exhales, tuning in. And this is a way to stay present to the practice. So on your next inhale, come back on up to all fours. Bring knees back below the hips, tuck the toes, and stretch back to downward facing dog. Go ahead and pedal out the feet here. Bend the knees so much so that you can lift the hips and arch the lower back to create some more length in the back body. From your hands, tone the muscles of your arms. And then from your heart, press out through your arms into your hands. From your heart, lift more up into your sitting bones, into your hips. And then, if you can, begin to straighten one leg and then the other. Extend and lengthen, pressing the hands and feet away from one another. On your next inhale, step your feet all the way back up into your hands. Standing forward bend, option for the blocks. Inhale, halfway lift, look forward, and exhale to refold. Soft bend in the knees here. Reach the hands wide and high. Keep a nice neutral back rather than rounding up. That helps protect the lower back. And then sweep the hands high, look to the thumbs, and exhale, palms to heart center. Release arms by your side in mountain pose. And find a gentle inward rotation to the inner thighs. Once again, this helps create that curve in the lower back and promotes healthy posture. Keeping that, inhale, reach the hands high, and exhale, bend your knees and fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift, look forward, and then exhale, step one foot back and the other. So you come to this high plank position. Let's talk about Chaturanga Dandasana. Lower to your knees here and keep the shoulders stacked over your wrists, just like we did in tabletop. The difference is that you might be shifted slightly forward rather than more of like a tabletop pose. So shoulders stacked over elbows, elbows over wrists. Notice if your belly is sagging like cow pose, and draw the lower ribs up to engage the core muscles. Keeping that engagement, begin to bend the elbows so they come in close to your rib cage. Shoulders don't go past the elbows, rather they stay lifted, and forearms are more or less parallel. This is Chaturanga Dandasana. Okay, now just lower all the way down to the mat and inhale, cobra pose. Tops of the feet press into the mat. Exhale, press back through tabletop, tuck the toes, and downward facing dog. Let's move through Chaturanga Dandasana one more time. Inhale, shift forward to high plank. Lower to your knees. Shoulders stack over elbows and wrists. And then begin to lower the elbow or bend the elbows, lowering, core is engaged. Before you hit the mat, inhale, untuck the toes, come into cobra, and then exhale, press back, downward facing dog. Okay, guess what? We're gonna do that one more time. Inhale forward to your high plank, shoulders stack over wrists. Now, you can opt to lower to your knees like we've been doing, or keep your legs lifted like you're in a high push-up pose. Either way, shoulders don't go past the elbows. You look forward and begin to lower. Elbows draw in towards the sides, core is engaged. You're not too saggy and you're not too like upright like this. So somewhere in between. Chaturanga Dandasana. Not the easiest pose. And then inhale to cobra, get on out of there, and press back to downward facing dogs. Pause for a full round of breath. And then inhale, look to the thumbs. Exhale, bend the knees and walk or step forward, coming to the front of your mat in a standing forward bend. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale to fold in. Slight bend in the knees, neutral spine, rise up, hands to the sky, and exhale, hands to heart. Let's move us through some sun salutations. We'll start with Surya Namaskar A, sun salutation A. Release arms by your side in mountain pose. Settle in. Inhale, reach the hands high, look to the thumbs, and then exhale and fold forward, option to bend the knees. Inhale, side hands to shins, look forward. And then exhale, plant the hands, step one foot and then the other coming to a high plank position. From here, on your next exhale, lower, Chaturanga Dandasana. Always an option to come to knees. Untuck the toes, draw the chest forward and up for cobra, shoulders roll back. And then exhale, press back, downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Next inhale, look to the front of the mat. And on your exhale, bend the knees and either walk your feet or step one at a time up to the front of the mat for standing forward bend, Uttanasana. Inhale, slide hands to shins, halfway lift, and then exhale and refold. Slight bend in the knees, protect the lower back, rise up with a flat back, hands reach high, and exhale, hands to heart. All right, moving on, Surya Namaskar B. So for chair pose, we start with feet, once again, just like mountain pose, hip width distance. Bend the knees so much so that you can measure fingertips to the mat and then reach the hands high. So you're sitting back in a chair. Weights in the heels. You can measure that by lifting all 10 of your toes. Inhale here. And then on an exhale, straighten the legs as you fold forward, swan dive forward. Inhale, halfway lift once again. And then exhale, place the hands, step one foot, then the other to high plank. Let's lower the knees for this one. Shoulders stack over elbows, nothing changes there. And then lower, Chaturanga Dandasana, look forward as you lower. Inhale to cobra, and then exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, look between your hands and step the right foot forward on your exhale. You can always help the right foot along. And we're going to do a warrior one variation, so crescent pose. Feet are hip width, that's your foundation. So like railroad tracks rather than a tightrope. From there, climb your hands up to the right thigh, reach the hands high, crescent lunge. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, place the hands, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, look to the front of the mat. Exhale, step the left foot to the left thumb, help it out to get there. Set up your feet for a stable foundation so they're hip width or wider. Climb hands to the left thigh, reach the hands high. Now, if you're at all wobbly, I recommend taking the left foot out to the left a couple inches for more stability. Exhale, hands touch down, step back, high plank, and lower, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, cobra pose. Keep your elbows slightly bent in cobra, roll the shoulders back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Next inhale, look between the thumbs, and exhale, walk or step, feet to the front of the mat. Halfway lift, exhale and fold. Bend the knees for chair pose. Sit back, and this completes the sequence. Stand tall, palms to heart. That's salutation B with crescent. Okay, let's do a standing balance pose. So it's eagle or Garudasana in Sanskrit. So last class we talked about really rooting down between the standing foot for a solid foundation, super stable. Let's start with right foot as the foundation. Actually, we're going to come into chair pose first. We've just been there, chair pose. And then for eagle arms, bring your arms out to a T, cross them in front of you, left arm comes under. Now you'll either reach for opposite shoulders or wrap the forearms and bind the palms. Okay, so this is eagle arms. From here, shift the weight to the right foot. Get super steady. Pick up the left. So you're in this like Karate Kid pose. And then wrap the left foot over the right. Left toes will either kickstand down or you take a single wrap around the right leg. Ooh, I just got wobbly. Or double wrap, reaching the toes all the way around. And you're here, eagle pose. Stay in it for a couple rounds of breath. Wobbling is good. Falling out is good. Just begin again. And then unwind out of that, come back into your chair pose, and guess what? We get to do it on the second side. So bring arms to a T and out in front of you. The right arm comes under this time. Do that little hug pose or wrap the arms. Shift the weight to the left foot. Pick up the right knee, right foot. Cross it over. Decide if you'll stay with kickstand. It's a good place to start. Single or double wrap. Now, the more you sit back into the chair, the more of a wrap you're going to get with the right leg, or bind as we would call it. How's your breath? All right, get on out of there, back to chair pose. I'm going to go back to the front of my mat. Inhale, and then exhale and fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back, high plank. Lower to the knees or stay in high plank for Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhales, cobra. And exhale to downward facing dog. Let's add in some standing poses here. On your next inhale, step the right foot between the thumbs and lower the left foot for warrior two foot pattern. So heel to inner arch. Climb the hands up and open up the arms to a T. Look over the right fingers for warrior two. Now the right knee bends almost to a square. Make sure it's not passing the ankle, and left leg stays straight. Virabhadrasana 2 or warrior 2. So I always try to like match my facial expression with the warrior poses to get real serious and confident here. And then swim the arms. Don't take yourself too seriously and step back to downward facing dog. Inhale, step the left foot between the hands now, and the right foot dials down parallel with the back edge of the mat. So this is warrior 2. Come on up. Strike that pose. And then hands to the mat. Come back, downward facing dog. Now you have the option here to stay here in down dog, or you can move through the vinyasa like what we've been doing. High plank, Chaturanga Dandasana, cobra pose, to down dog. And that little sequence is called a vinyasa. Let's add on here. On your next inhale, step your right foot forward, warrior 2 foot pattern. Come on up, warrior 2. Here's the add-on. Flip the right palm. For reverse warrior, nothing changes in the lower body. Left hand slides down the back leg. Right arm reaches high. Inhale here. And then exhale to extended side angle. Right forearm to the top of the right thigh. And the left arm sweeps up and over for extended side angle or Parvakonasana. Sometimes we just call it, say, Vakit. Vakit. Cool. Touchdown. Step back. Downward facing dog. Sorry, I'm cracking myself up. Let's do that same sequence on the second side. On your next in-breath, step the left foot forward, dial the right heel down. Inhale up to warrior 2, Vira 2. Flip the left palm. Exhale, reverse your warrior. Left hand lifts high, right hand slides down the back leg. Vakit. Left forearm to the top of the left thigh. Reach the right arm up and over for extended side angle. And then touch down with the hands. Step back, downward facing dog. Decide if you have another vinyasa in you or not. If you do, come forward with me. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, cobra pose. And exhale, press back. We'll all meet in downward facing dog. Really nice. Okay, one more standing pose here. Next inhale, step the right foot between the hands. Dial the back heel down, back in that same foot pattern, warrior 2. Walk your hands off to the left now. This is just like a prep pose, downward dog lunge. And send your thighs back. So you're moving towards the back plane. We're going to keep that so nothing changes, and the muscles of the lower body, the legs, are super engaged and turned on. From here, we're going to sneak up on triangle pose. So walk your hands in towards the right foot. Take the left hand to the left hip. You can use that to keep the left hip moving back. Straighten the right leg. And if you can't get it all the way straight, you could try scooching the right foot forward for a bit more length. Or you could bring a block into play. And we're going to walk the right hand to the outside of the right foot. Straighten the right leg. Turn the belly and chest up. Straighten the left leg. Top arm reaches for the sky. Triangle pose. You can play around with your gaze. It can be down at the right foot or up at the left thumb, depending on how your neck feels today. Rebend the right knee now, touch down with the hands, and step back, down dog. And we'll take that to the second side. On your inhale, step the left foot between the hands, dial the right heel down, warrior two foot pattern. Walk the hands off to the right for down dog lunge, and allow your hips, your bum to lean back. Okay, here we go. Trikonasana or triangle pose. Right hand to the right hip, slide the left hand in and straighten the left leg. Determine if you need to scooch the left foot forward a bit or grab your block. Hand and block to the outside of the left foot. Left leg is straight. Both legs super toned. Belly and chest turn up to the right. Right hand floats high. Gaze is either up at the thumb or down towards the front of the mat. Nice. Rebend the left knee to get out of there. Place the hands, step back all together, high plank, lower to your knees, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, cobra, and exhale to downward facing dog. Step your feet halfway up the mat now. And actually, you could grab your blanket and unfold it and place it in front of your mat. It's a little crash pad. We're going to go to an arm balance, but before we do, let's get a little hip opening in yoga squat. So this is called Malasana. Grab your block. You can either sit on the block, yep, or if you don't need the block, take it back out. Either way, if you're sitting on a block or not, palms press in. And the legs and the knees press into the upper arms. Simultaneously, the arms press the legs out. So it's an adductor stretch for the inner thighs and also an opening in the outer hips. Cool. From here, we're going to go to crow pose and arm balance or Bakasana. And I like to start with my big toes touching. Hands shoulder width distance on the mat. Bend the elbows. So if this reminds you of Chaturanga Dandasana, that's good because the upper body is basically in Chaturanga Dandasana. Shift the weight forward. So you come all the way in, like you're kind of leaning into your fingertips. That's what the crash pad's for, in case you fall forward. Squeeze the legs into the upper arms, just like you did in the last pose. And then try picking up one foot, place it down. My hands are too narrow. I'm going to take them a little wider. You can try picking up another foot, put it down. Some of you may try picking up both. Crow pose, Bakasana. And then set it down. Press back. You got it. Downward facing dog. Extend fully into down dog. Pressing hands and feet apart. And remember, child's pose is always available to you. Cool. From here, walk your feet halfway up the mat. Come on down seated. And we'll do a back bending pose, bridge pose. Come on lying down on your back. Soles of the feet On the mat, knees face up, feet are more or less parallel to your hips, and there's an arch in the lower back. Press hands down, press into the feet, and on an inhale, float the hips. Extend from the palate of your mouth down your torso and legs, and then from your knees, press actively into your feet. Now, rather than curling the spine down, aim the sitting bones for the mat first to lower. Take a little mini break, and we'll do that, I think, 2 more times. Reestablish the lumbar curve. Press into the feet, float the hips. And this time, try to get your chest a bit more vertical. Notice if your chin's like really close to your chest, and take the chin away from the chest as well. So that creates a curve, the natural curve in the neck that mirrors the curve in your lower back. Stay for one more inhale. And then on the exhale, aim the sitting bones down, touch down, take a little break. We'll do that one more time. Arch the back, press into the feet, lift on up. Chest gets more vertical, chin moves away from the chest. And then exhale and come on down. Pause here so as not to shock the system or shock the spine. And then slowly draw one knee to the chest and then the other and roll to one side. Press up to seated. And take legs out in front of you. Now this is another opportunity to use your blanket, especially if you know you have tight hamstrings. You'll place the sitting bones just on the edge of the blanket. And this does a couple of things. It's going to help create that curve in the lower back and hopefully open the hamstrings. Flex the toes towards your nose. Legs are toned. This is actually a pose. It's called Dandasana, stick pose. We're going to take it into a forward bend. Reach the hands above the head. And then hinging at the hips, you'll come forward. And maybe you'll just stop here, or maybe you'll continue to move forward, reaching hands towards your feet. Now, what we don't want to have happen is a rounding action. So as soon as you start to round in like this, you come back out of the pose, reestablish the neutral spine, and then hinge forward once again. So once again, you may be up here. You're looking for a stretch in the hamstrings, the back of the legs, or you can walk your hands forward, just so much so that you're not rounding, rather keeping a nice neutral spine. Now, wherever you are, you'll lower your chin slightly so your neck and spine are aligned. You're not holding your head up. Take a few rounds of breath here. This is Paschimottanasana, or seated forward bend. And it's a great pose to calm the nervous system, to regulate, to de-stress, to come down, cool down from a vinyasa practice like we just did. Cool. And then come on up. And we'll take Bakasana, soles of the feet together, thumbs to the inside of the feet, fingers wrap around the tops of the feet. Lower the knees towards the mat. Keep a nice tall spine. Bring hands to your knees, close them up like a book, and then kind of shift yourself forward so you have space to lie down on your back. For happy baby, draw knees to your chest, and then reach for the inside or outside of your feet, and use the strength of your arms to draw your knees towards the floor. Keep aiming the sitting bones towards the mat, and you can rock side to side or bend and straighten one leg and then the other, or both legs, moving around like a happy baby. And release the feet to the mat, knees face up. For thread the needle, cross your right foot over the left knee. And between that space you've provided, send the right hand and the left hand reaching for the back of the left thigh. Or if your hips are a little bit more mobile, more mobile than mine, you can reach for the top of the left thigh. So either way, getting the benefit of the hip opening on the outer right hip. You can even use your right elbow to kind of nudge the right leg out slightly. And notice that the right toes are engaged, they're flexed. That helps protect the right knee. But the left foot's just kind of floppy, it's just hanging out. Shoulders are soft, so you shouldn't be feeling a whole lot of tension in the neck or shoulders. Belly is soft. Ujjayi breath is still activated. So that helps us stay present instead of moving on to the next thing in our day. Nice. Release the grip of the hands and then place the right foot down, and we'll just switch it right out. So left foot crosses over the right knee, left toe is flexed. Draw the right knee into the chest. Reach between that triangle that you made for the back of the right thigh or the top of the right shin. Option to use the left elbow to press the left leg out. Full Ujjayi breath in and Ujjayi breath out. Nice. Release that. And we'll take a spinal twist before Shavasana. So extend both legs long to the mat and bend the right knee into the chest. Aim the knee up for your armpit and give yourself a little squeeze. Try to avoid the rib cage. And then draw the right knee across your body for the twist. And you may need to shift the hips over to the right slightly. The right knee draws across the body. You can use your left hand to coax it over, and the right arm comes out to a T. The gaze can stay up at the ceiling or out over the right shoulder. Now, no need to pressure or, force anything, right? So the right knee may not touch down, and the right shoulder also may be lifted up off the mat. On your inhale, come back to center. Give the right knee one more squeeze. Draw the left knee in and switch it out. So the right leg goes long, and you'll hug the left knee up into the armpit. Give it a little squeeze, and then coax it across the body. Again, you might need to shift the hips over to the left to keep that curve in the lower back. And use your right hand to coax the right knee down. Left arm comes out to a T, and gaze can be out over the left shoulder. Fantastic. Come back through center now. Reestablish your body into the middle of the mat. Extend both legs long. Aim the heels out for the corners of your mat. Allow the toes and feet to just flop out. Arms come by your sides, but away from the torso. Palms face up. Draw your attention back to the breath. Ujjayi breath in. Ujjayi breath out. Let's do that a couple more times with a breath count. So inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 3, 2, 1. Ujjayi breath. Exhale. 3, 2, 1. One more full deep inhale. And then just let the exhale go. And when you do, allow your body, your torso to just kind of melt into the mat. Let gravity take over. For final resting pose, Shavasana. Lower the chin slightly. Soften through the forehead, the jaw, the neck, and the shoulders, where we tend to hold a lot of our tension. Try to fully relax here for just a moment in time. Slowly bring yourself back to the present moment. Make some movements with fingers and toes. And then draw one knee in and the other. Roll to one side, it doesn't matter which. Make a little pillow with your bottom arm. Pausing here to thank yourself for carving out this time, doing your practice, building stability and ease in each pose. And then slowly press to seated with eyes closed or a soft gaze. Hands come to knees or palms to heart. Thank you all so much for coming to practice with me today. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope to see you again soon.